So when I became aware of the principles, I'm like, okay, now I got to practice these every day. And now I got to be aware of them daily, that I'm practicing them each and every single day over a period of time. It's not practice it today and then you get the promise tomorrow. No, it's about practicing them today, tomorrow, next week, for a month, 3 months, until you receive your promise. And and remember, this is the most important thing that I've learned about this, is about making sure that you keep the principles through the character building times, because that's when the real test happens. Because if you could do the principles when it's all good, it's all good.
Anybody can do that. Come on.
But can you keep the principles? Can you follow the exact principles when it all goes wrong? When you're being challenged, when you're being tested, when things are going against you, can you continue the principles through then? And when I did that, bro, I realized that right before I got anything that I wanted or anything that I asked for, God would put me through a quick storm to see if I would continue the principles that he wants me to do. And then when I did, at the end of that storm, guess what was there? The promise, my brother. Every time.
I feel really, really good. The first thing I want to do is this. Keep sharing it out, guys. Keep putting it out there. Keep letting other people know what it is that's happening right now, whether you're live on Facebook, Instagram, or Zoom. You know, the guest speaker that we have today is somebody very, very special. You know, somebody that has a really, really big heart. And I want to say this. Many of you guys, probably many, many more of you will see the replay when it hits YouTube. Okay. Like, right? Drop a comment, hit that notification bell, hit the subscribe button. The person that I'm bringing to you guys here today is somebody that honestly I've known for years. Yeah, I've known him for years, and I watched him constantly ascend. I watched him constantly achieve more and more and more. I watched him elevate. I've watched him literally go all the way to heights most people will never get to. I'm talking about, I've seen him get to the 1%. Okay, in business, right? I've seen him achieve things that most people probably won't ever achieve. And so the thought process today was, how do we bring value? How do we get this individual in front of even more people that we have in our network? He's already got an incredible platform, a very, very big platform. But the idea was, you know, he's got so much value to give. I was on his call yesterday, just listening, getting value myself. I said, wow, this individual is speaking about real life. Wow, this individual is actually, you know, giving practical principles that people can go out there and win with. Wow, this individual is not, you know, you can tell when somebody's reading something from a book, and you can tell when somebody has lived something. He is the kind of leader that I would recommend that anybody learn from, anybody actually, you know, take the time to sit down and take some notes. He's that kind of leader. Okay. And I want to tell you guys something else. You know, he's also the kind of person, you know, we hadn't spoken in some time, you know, and I called him up randomly, just on the fly. I was like, you know what, let me call this man, see if I can get him on the show. And without hesitation, he literally says, yes, absolutely. Okay, mind you, we hadn't spoken in months, right? Since we had actually spoken, and this individual just says, yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man. What time do you need me? Absolutely, brother. Anything to serve. And I want you guys to understand that's rare. That's not common. He could have very easily said, oh no, man. Guys, he just got off of a flight, you know, and he's making time to be here on this call. So please don't take it lightly. Out of respect for him, what I want every single person to do, if you're excited to get the value, go ahead and keep sharing it out. Copy the link, share it out. Let's get this to as many people as possible. But I do want to bring to you guys crypto investor, NFT holder. He's got an incredible podcast affecting and impacting the lives of thousands of people, and world-renowned business leader, my brother, Neno Torres, aka Neno in the Morning. Are you here with us, bro?
Yes, sir. I'm here, brother. What's up? How you doing, my brother?
Man, feeling amazing, bro. Feeling amazing. I'm excited, man, just to have a real conversation. You know, excited just to, you know, bro, you got so much value. You got so much wisdom. You know, I'm sure you get it all the time, man. I'm not sure exactly how old you are, but I know we're around the same age. I'm sure people tell you, man, that you're wise beyond your years. And I said, man, I've got to have some more people be able to listen to what it is that he's got to say. I want to have some more people be able to get the same gems that I'm getting, be able to learn how I'm learning when you speak. And a lot of the people, man, they don't know your backstory. We've got people on here that are 9-to-5ers. We've got people on here that are networkers. We've got people that are traditional business owners, people who are just thought leaders and influencers. Some people, you know, I think the common thread here, bro, what we're doing with the ambassadors of the kingdom, the whole goal is to show people that if you practice God's principles, you can participate in his promises, right? Success principles, God principles. And as I listened to you, man, especially on that call I was on yesterday, I knew that it was confirmation. You were the kind of guest that we wanted to have on this call. So, man, how's your day starting, man? Let me stop talking. How's your day starting, bro?
Bro, the day's great. Actually moving out of the spot here in Miami, and you know, just wrapped up the last minute things we had to wrap up, and I was excited to jump on this call and, you know, get the questions answered. You know, just kind of like you said, have that conversation with you, and I want to thank you so much, bro, as well for, you know, inviting me, even thinking of me. You know, I never take these, you know, these kind of calls for granted, so that's the reason why the moment you know, you gave me that phone call and you told me, yo, bro, you know, call on Saturday 1 p.m. I'm like, yeah, bro, set it up. I'm there. Whatever it takes, whatever I got to do to serve, because, you know, you've always been somebody I had a lot of respect for and somebody that I got a love for. And you've accomplished incredible things. And I've been able to watch you grow from afar, and, you know, to see how much you've grown, and to see that now you're taking matters into your own hand, and you're really, really creating this platform. And the fact that you're building on a foundation of God and his principles, I already know that this one is solid and this one is going up, 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 up. So I'm excited to be here, brother. For real, I really, really am, my brother.
Hey, that's all love, man. Appreciate you, bro. I want to ask you this because you were you know, you're not regular. You know, at the same time, I know you're very, very humble, and you may not say it to these people, but I need for every single one of them, because we're live on Facebook, we're live on Instagram, and we're on Zoom. I need every single one of them to understand, you know, the kind of person that you are, bro. I mean, you talk about, you know, bro, millions of people have tried to do what it is that you've done and have not done it. And, you know, you are in the people business, so you've worked with a lot of people, right? You meet people each and every single day. You have worked with people, you've mentored people, you've trained people, developed people, coached people. You know, I want to ask you something. You, the kind of person that you are, you know, what shaped you into that person, bro? What was it about your upbringing, or about, you know, I don't know, your past, your history, that has kind of molded you into the person that you are today?
That's a great question, bro. You know, there was a lot of factors for sure. You know, I would say it started in the household for sure with, you know, my parents. I come from a Dominican background. You know, my parents are born and raised in the Dominican Republic. They grew up out there. You know, they came out here as immigrants, and, you know, just like any other parents that come out, you know, looking to create a better future for their kids. And you know, my parents worked long hours, bro, both of them, you know, every single day, Monday through Sunday. And, you know, growing up subconsciously, I feel like, you know, I embody the work ethic that they've, you know, showed me throughout the years of, you know, being up early, coming home, you know, doing what it takes. But also, you know, since I had that in me, you know, I played the game of baseball, and you know, I was a baseball player my whole entire life. My dream was to play professional baseball. That was my goal. That was my dream. And, you know, when I played baseball, you know, I had incredible mentors as well, coaches that, you know, embodied work ethic, embodied, you know, discipline, and showing up on time, and, you know, always being the hardest working person in the room. And, you know, that was something that I learned from my coaches very, very, very early on, is that they said, Neno, make sure that you're the first one in the field and the last one off, and make sure that you allow no one to ever work harder than you on your team. Never. So ever since I was young, since I was 12, 13 years old, I've always been the hardest working person in the room. And I take that really, really serious in my heart. Like, I'm the type of guy, like, for example, let's say, Malachi, you're the guy, you know, I arrive at practice, and, you know, you're the guy that everybody knows that's the hardest worker. I would literally sit right by you each and every single day at practice, and whatever you're doing, I'm always going to do more. So if you're doing 10 sprints, I'm going to do 12 sprints. You know, you're doing 10 reps in the gym, I'm going to do 12 reps in the gym. You went to the gym for an hour, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour and a half, right? Because I had to train myself to always do the extra, right? Because what people tend to do is that they only do what's required, right? They were, right? You know, you were told, hey, you got to be here from this time to this time. This is what you got to do. But you did it because that was what was required. Wow. But about the work that you do after what was required was done, that really matters. And that always stuck with me, that extra 10%. Wow. And my whole life, I've lived by that. If you ever tell me to do something, I'll do what you tell me. But I'm always going to do more because that more comes from me. And that has developed an incredible amount of willpower over the years. And that's the reason why, bro, I just have this mentality, this never quit, whatever it takes. I'm going to do all it takes each and every single day, Monday through Sunday, never quit. And, you know, I've developed it over the years. It's not something that happened, you know, from one day to another. It's right. Years and years of practice and willpower, determination, discipline. But, you know, that's how I've been able to do it, bro.
Man, I love that. That's powerful, bro. And I think any athletes, can any athlete on the call agree with what it is that he just said? If so, somebody type yes. Okay, in the chat box, if that kind of captures and encompasses what it is that we were taught as athletes. Man, I love that. You know, I played football and I ran track, and that was the same mentality that I had. You know, I thought running fast and catching footballs was how I was going to get free. And it's the same mentality, bro. Showing up early, leaving late. You know, you know, I was always thinking hard work can beat talent when talent fails to work hard. You know, I come from a background as well. My dad always told me, you know, son, whatever your hands and feet find to do it with all your might. And so I agree with what it is that you said, man. I think that's powerful. And I think people can really, really hear what it is that you said. Guys, please take notes. Because you know, what's easy to do is also easy not to do. And success principles are easy to find. They're just hard to follow. He told you basic, you know, things that are so powerful that we've heard before, right? Work hard, be the first to show up and the last to leave. But he's telling you how he was able to achieve what it is that he's achieved, right? Don't take that lightly and don't take that for granted. Man, I have another question for you. And I really want to ask you this. Now, you have achieved a lot. And, you know, the reason why that's important is because I need people to understand I didn't just bring anybody on this call. I'm very, very serious with, and I'm very careful, you know, when it comes to selecting anybody to be on this platform. You've achieved massive, massive success, but you come across as so humble. Now, I know that's not for no reason. Could you just talk to us about humility? Because, bro, people have achieved, and you've seen it, right? Especially working with people. People get to half of the success that you've achieved. People get to 10% of the success that you've achieved, and their head just blows up. You know, they all of a sudden, you know, now they don't know nobody. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden, you know, they're larger than life. How is it that you have achieved so much yet you still come across so humble? And what's the importance of humility, bro?
Well, that's a great question, bro. You know, something I've learned, bro, over the time is that there's two ways to learn in life. You can either learn from your experiences or you can learn from other people's experiences. And like you said, I've watched people who've gotten money, who've accomplished success, and it got to their head and they stopped doing the things that was required of them in order, you know, the things that they did to get there, they stopped doing those things. They let their head get too big. And, you know, my mentor always said, he said, you can't get too big for the little things because then guess what? The big things are going to become too little for you. So that, you know, that always stuck with me because I said, man, yes, right now, when I didn't have much success and I didn't have much financial success, yes, right now I might not have it, but I want to make sure that when I do have it, I always keep my humility. Okay. Because I got to remember that this wasn't me that did it. It was God. And the way that he gave it to me is the same way that he can take it away. Wow. Okay. I've seen so many people get it and have it taken away because they lost their humility. So I always said that the moment I get it, I will always make sure to keep my humbleness because the moment you forget where you came from, you are already on your way there.
Come on.
So, and yeah, bro, it is.
Hold on, wait. I don't know if they heard that, bro. Say that again. Say that one more time. And I hope y'all are listening on all platforms. You just said something, bro. I'm gonna need you to repeat that. That was good.
I said, the moment that you forget where you came from, you are already on your way there. And I never forget where I came from. I never forget me sleeping on the couches, me eating, you know, ramen noodles when I was down. All the things that I never forget those days. I never forget where I came from. I'm always so grateful for everything that I get, because I know that, the same way I got it is the same way that I can lose it. And I always give all the grace and everything back to God. I always let God know that it was because of him that I got these things. It was because of his grace. These are his gifts that he's given me. And, I'm just grateful that he gives them to me so I can, live them on this earth and represent him as one of his sons and one of his childs here on earth. So, I never, ever, ever lose the humility, bro, because I know how important humility is. And I always want to be an example for people. You can still be inspired. You can still be an inspiration. You can still impact people without the chains, without the watches, without the flashiness, right? You can inspire people by your value, because that's what people are going to remember you for. And I don't want people to remember me for this flashy Neno that had all the chains and all the cars and this. I want people to remember me for my value, because that's something that's going to outlive all the materialistic things.
If you guys are happy with the guest that we brought you here today, somebody go ahead and type an AOTK in the chat box. Somebody go ahead and come on all platforms, man. Type an AOTK in the chat box. Bro, you literally, again, it was a feeling, but you're just confirming it, why it is that, I wanted you to speak on this platform, bro, because, I think everyone might go through it. Maybe not everyone, but I sure did. Where it was about, completely material things. It was about just, wanting to have the flashy things. It was about wanting to be seen. But what it is that you have just expressed is that, hey, listen, the same thing I said, we only have so long on this earth. And what is it really about? It can't just be about material. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all for the nice things. I think we both are. And that's why we work. One of the reasons we work so hard. But you said, no, my job is to represent, and give glory back to God with the gifts that he's given me. Meaning that I couldn't be doing what I'm doing if I wasn't given gifts, right? I tell people every morning, you open 2 gifts and those were your eyes, right? We can open our eyes, but we can't make them see, right? We can stand up in the morning, but we can't make our legs work. Those are gifts from God. And so that is the goal of this entire platform, bro, is to develop ambassadors and deploy them all across the world. And that being ambassadors of the kingdom. So moving forward, bro, that was an incredible answer. And just so you know, I'm taking notes as you're speaking, and I hope everyone else is doing the same thing. Let me ask you this, bro. Obviously, you talk about it's taken years. You talk about success being a journey. The message you're sending is one that, I believe needs to be sent more. People, advertise that it can happen overnight and that it's just, people want microwave success. Now, I want to know from you, bro, what has allowed you to have some of your biggest breakthroughs? What did you change? How did you change it? Talk to me about some of those moments. Talk to me about some of those lessons. That way everybody here can take notes and learn from you.
Yeah, bro. I mean, for me, the thing that has brought me my biggest breakthroughs has been my morning routine, bro. Has been taking the time on a day-to-day basis to spend it in isolation. Just spending a lot of time working on my inner self, because I've understood that the outside reflects what's going on the inside. So if you're not happy with the results on the outside, then there's work that needs to be done internally. And there's been many times where I wasn't happy with the results on the outside. I wasn't happy with the money in my bank account. I wasn't happy with my mom complaining about the bills and just the way I was feeling, bro, and just what I was seeing on the outside, my environment, my friends, just everything in general, bro. So I said, when I first learned that and I first heard that, I said, wow, so the outside is a reflection of what's going on inside, right? So what I did was I said, okay, so I got to fix the inside. All right. I got to work on myself. I got to start to develop myself. And I started to develop a morning routine. I know someone said, break down what my morning routine is, and I will. So what I would do is I had to get uncomfortable. I'm not before I started doing my morning routine, I was not a morning person. I was the person that, woke up when I was done sleeping. If that was 11 a.m., 12 p.m., midday, that was when I was waking up. But I realized that, in order for me to get the things that I want in life, I need to be up earlier than what the average person wakes up. So the average person wakes up at 8 a.m. Eastern. For example, I'm in New York, Miami, they wake up 8 a.m. Eastern, right? So I had to that's where the competitive athletic mindset came in. Okay, I said, okay, so the average person wakes up at 8. I got to wake up at least at 6 o'clock a.m., right? A.m. So what I started to do was I started to wake up at exactly 5:55. Very intentional, right? I said, all right, I'm going to be up at 5:55 every morning, super intentional with it. Okay. And the first thing I would do when I would wake up is pray and practice gratitude, right? I wouldn't my phone. I wouldn't check Instagram. As a matter of fact, I'm not allowed to use my Instagram for the first 2 hours of my day. Okay, so I'm not supposed to answer no messages. I can't answer any emails. I can't check social media, nothing, no phone calls. Like those 2 hours, those first 2 hours of my day, the president could call me and can't get in contact with me, bro, because it is just so sacred for me to get that time in. So for those 2 hours, I'm very intentional. So I'm praying, I'm practicing my gratitude. I read my goal card. I make sure that I also hydrate my body with some good spring and alkaline water. Do my best to get at least a piece of fruit inside of me. And then what I usually do, I do my best to get around nature. So back in New York, I would always walk to the nearest park, right? And I would go to the nearest park and I would do my meditation for 10 to 15 minutes. I would read for 30 minutes and I would journal and write my goals down every single day. I would also include a little workout in. If you could get a full workout in, get it in. But I would get a nice little workout in because they had like pull-up bars and like push-ups. So I'd always get like my push-up, pull-ups, abs, a little bit of legs, some squats. And then I was always listening to audios in the morning. So my whole morning consisted of praying in gratitude, reading my goal card, having a drink of water, hydrating, eating some fruit. Then I would go into my meditation, into reading, journaling, which is where I write my goals down, my affirmations, how I'm feeling for the day, listen to an audio, and work out. And within that time frame, I would get all of those things done, one after another. Very intentional, no phone, just me, myself, and God that morning, just really working on myself, really reading intentional books, writing down my goals very intentionally, meditating on, depending on whatever you're going through at the moment. There were meditations that I did on forgiveness. There were meditations that I had to do on, just manifesting my future, manifesting, certain places that I wanted to live and things I wanted to, accomplish. And, there were a lot of different meditations. Every book I read had an intention behind it because it was a book that was going to help me get out of my situation. So if I was struggling with consistency, I was reading a book that was going to help me improve my consistency. If I was struggling with leadership, I was reading books that, were going to help me become that better leader. If I needed to build a closer relationship with God, right, I was reading books that helped me build that closer relationship. So everything was done with a very specific intention in order for me to get to where I want to go to, because I've learned that if you want to accomplish certain things in life, the intention behind the actions that you take on a day-to-day basis must match that of what you were asking for.
Wow.
So if I'm gonna set a goal, for example, my goal now is to make 7 figures. Okay. Now, every intention behind every action I take moving forward has to have the intention to create those 7 figures. I can't just take an action just to take it. All right. I can't take a below average action. Every action has to match that will help me become that 7-figure earner. So every book, every journal I write down, every audio I listen to, every event that I go to, every person that I allow in my circle and to pour into me, everything has to be very calculated, bro. And, that's how I've been able to have a lot of my biggest breakthroughs was through a lot of the internal work, because you start to realize more, your conscious level increases. Everything is you're just so much more aware of everything. Your emotional intelligence gets better and you just have breakthrough after breakthrough after breakthrough. And, you're expecting miracles and you're getting them each and every single day.
Bro, there was so much meat on that bone. I personally will be going back and watching the replay. You said 2 things. Well, you said a lot, but the first thing I can agree with I put it this way. I tell people you don't rise to the level of your goals, but we fall to the level of our systems. And so
Facts.
I think that's important. What it is that you said, if I want the lifestyle, I got to fall in love with the lifestyle that it takes to get it. Another thing that you said that I agree, I put it this way: your daily routine will take you straight to your dream. And,
Yep.
I think the problem, bro, with so many people is they want to get to the end goal. They say, they just throw numbers out there, right? Oh, I want to have success. Oh, I want to get to, even if they have a number, I want to make $10 million. They don't actually take the time. They don't maybe have the awareness, to put together a system or a routine, something that's conducive to that success, right? I've heard it said this way: people have $1 million dreams and a minimum wage work ethic, right? Or we can liken that to minimum wage habits. And I think there was so much to learn with what it is that you said. Again, I'm going to watch the replay. I'm taking notes, but it's so much value. I don't know. It's just, I'm trying to get it all. And I think if everyone here has learned one thing, guys, take notes, right? Take notes on what it is that he's saying, because it's so powerful. It's so good. And that's one of the biggest things I preach as well, is consistency and routine, right? Rituals, habits. And I don't think it's any mistake. I think success leaves clues. And, it's just, it's the writing is all over the walls right now on why you've been able to get where it is that you get. And I have every bit of confidence, man, that you're going to accomplish all of your goals. So the next thing you mentioned, since we're on the topic, you were talking about audios and books and, personal development being in your routine. Can you talk to us briefly, because I want to fit all these questions in. Can you talk to us briefly about personal development, the importance of it, and maybe some recommendations for the people watching?
Yeah, bro. Very early on, I listened to Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is one of my mentor. He's the GOAT.
Right.
And he always says, one of his quotes, he says, your income will not far exceed your personal development. So your income is low is due to the fact that you have a low personal development level of, awareness. So that always stuck with me, bro. It always stuck with me that I had to work on myself. I had to develop myself daily. So, he always said, leaders are readers, listen to audios, attend events, books that really made a massive change. I'll give you guys 5 good books that really made like real big changes in my life. Number 1, I would say, is The 4 Agreements. Made a massive change. Still to this day, I live off of The 4 Agreements. Number 2, The Compound Effect. Incredible book. A great book when it comes to helping you with discipline and consistency. Number 3, I would say, is The Power of Awareness. Phenomenal book, a little bit advanced, but really good book. Another really great book is The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. That one is next level. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And then number 5, I would say, is Miracle Morning. Teaching you the importance of a morning routine. Those 5 books. So I would say The 4 Agreements, The Compound Effect, The Power of Awareness, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and what was the last one I said? Miracle Morning.
Yes.
Miracle Morning. So I would recommend those books. Those are great books right there, and very beginner level. Probably the most advanced book out of all of those is The Power of Awareness. But in terms of audios, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale.
Come on.
That's
Amazing.
fantastic. You become what you think about most. Success is the progressive realization of a worthy idea. Jim Rohn is always good stuff. Bob Proctor, I'm huge on Bob Proctor, as you know, bro. Those are always good people. But, the personal development, just industry in general, bro, it's a great industry that we need to get more people involved in. Yeah. And that's why I love that you're doing these calls, because these calls include people's personal development. They need to develop themselves personally in order for them to become the person that they want to be, in order for them to deserve what they're asking for. And that's how it works, because in life, you don't get what you want. In life, you get what you deserve. And the way you deserve it is by the person that you become. It's not about what we get. At the end of the day, it's about what we become. And what you become is what gets you what you ask for.
Come on, man. So, guys, I wish, again, if you're enjoying this call, type of AOTK in the chat box, bro. This is good. This is so, so good. And, you know, talking about Jim Rohn, I agree with you. He says we can have more because we can become more. And, you know, I'm a huge advocate. I'm a big promoter of just becoming more. If you want more, just become more. Just instead of wishing for success, just become the person that deserves it, right? Match the frequency of whatever it is that you want and begin to attract that thing. So, bro, again, I couldn't, you know, agree with what it is that you're saying more, complete alignment. And you're getting me fired up, bro. You're getting me excited just listening to these answers. Let me ask you this, bro. You talk about learning from other people's mistakes, and I think that's so important. You know, I believe that mentorship is wisdom without waiting. I believe that mentorship is wisdom without the wounds. And so, can you talk to us if you could go back and change anything, bro? You know, if you could go back and, you know, change or not make any mistakes that you've made, would you? And what would they be? What would have allowed you to win bigger faster?
Um, you know, and that's a great question. And, you know, I've actually, there's two ways to answer this question. I could say I wouldn't change anything because
Right.
If I change anything, you know, I wouldn't have been here. You know, everything happened the way it was supposed to happen for me to get here. But, you know, always, you know, you get to a certain moment like where you're like, man, bro, I wish if I knew this when I first got started,
Wrong.
I'd I'd be so much further. Honestly, one of the things I would say is, yo, for real, if I had a mentor a lot earlier, it would have helped a lot, bro. You know, they say that when the student is ready, the mentor appears, and it took me some time for me to attract a mentor that was willing to pour into me, and it took me, bro, close to a year and a half, almost 2 years before I was, you know, because it's one thing that, you know, it's one thing to have a digital mentor. Like, you know, Jim Rohn was a digital mentor to me. Bob Proctor, all these guys were digital mentors. These people were on YouTube, but I couldn't personally talk to them. I couldn't specifically ask them certain questions as to what I was currently going through. So, you know, one of the things that I would change, you know, going back is, you know, getting that mentorship very early on, you know, developing that morning routine very early on. I feel like having mentorship is so key, but the thing is that some people disrespect access though when they do have it. Like, for example, having access to something like this, like having access to you, like you're an extremely successful individual, you're connected to God, you know, you've helped hundreds and thousands of people accomplish success. Like,
Bro.
you know, anyone who jumps on this call and doesn't and takes it for granted, they're disrespecting access. And sometimes those are things that hold people back, you know, is the fact that, you know, if this call is at this time, you got to be here intentionally, cameras on, taking notes, making sure you're on point, because if not, you're disrespecting the access that you have access to. So, you know, it was one of those things that, you know, once I had it, I never took it for granted, bro. I was asking questions. If I knew that I was going to my mentor's house or that I was going to be in the same room as my mentor, I showed up with 5, 6 questions ready to ask him, like, okay, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. I never showed up to a room with an empty notes or with an empty note. I came ready to go. Once I got that chance, Malachi, well, look, bro, I got a few questions for you. You got a few minutes? And what I would do is I never really took notes on the questions. I would just voice record them because it's kind of hard. He's going to chop it up. So I would voice record it and I'll be like, bro, look, I got this question. Boom, boom, boom. This is another question. How do I develop more leaders and this? And how do I become a better? How did you deal with the failure? And I would sit there and voice record it. And then I would go home and study that to the T. And I would always ask some questions like, yo, what were the books that you read that gave you the biggest breakthrough? What were the audios? And I would go and sit down and listen to that audio for 30 days and massive audio, read that book twice, like not just once, and really, really take that mentorship, take advantage of the fact that I even had access to that mentorship, because I knew a lot of people that would go to these places and take it for granted. They just wanted to be there for the pictures, for the flossing and all of that. I wasn't there for that. I was there as a student always. And as a successful mentor, you realize that, like, Malachi, those mentors, like, they have that it factor because they're fully present. They're there. They're always question. They're always showing gratitude. Every time you see them, it's all about like, more learning, more learning, more learning. And guess what? When you find people like that, you want to do more for people like that. And that's how I was able to attract my mentor. Now, I'm being mentored by, the top earner in the company, and, he's top 5 network marketers in the whole entire world. And that had, and the fact that I'm being mentored by him, so many other mentors are now like, yeah, I want to help this kid as well. I want to put, him in position as well. So I've been blessed and grateful, bro, from all the mentorship I've gotten. But, my real mentor has definitely was God for sure first before anybody. But, he puts certain people in my life now to speak through them to me now. And that's how he's been able to get me here now, bro. So I'm grateful.
That's so good. I tell people a parasite will want what it is that's in the mentor's pocket, but a protege wants what's in the mentor's mind. And so I think that's so good. And I do want to unpack that more because and by the way, bro, congratulations on all that you've been able to achieve. Talk to us about, let's stay on this topic. We got about 20 more minutes. Let's stay on this topic of mentorship because it's such a complex thing for most people. You can make it simple, it can be complex, but I think for most people, they don't get it, right? Because they're not used to, necessarily submitting to information, right? They're not used to holding a person to such high regard to be able to learn from them. And I really have a couple of different questions for you, but we know the importance of mentorship. Everybody wants to follow a mentor to be able to get what that person obviously has in their life. But you talk about something so key that I think a lot of us miss. And we mess it up because of the law of familiarity. But I agree with you, bro, because see, for me, if a mentor is on the phone, if I'm sitting down with a mentor, if a mentor allowed me to be able to be in proximity, I'm going, number one. Number two, I'm not asking when it's time to leave. I'm taking notes, I'm listening, I'm recording. I feel like in this generation, bro, especially, we've kind of maybe lost that art where we don't have the humility to sit there and take notes. We think, I can just listen to it. I can just listen to her. We don't have the humility to pull out, the phone and record it. We don't always, we might be excited to see them the first time, the second time, but it becomes difficult to keep that humility, and we get familiar. We start to get lax, and we become so close with the mentor. We become so used to seeing this individual having calls like this that we kind of become numb to it. Can you talk to us about why you don't do that? And also tell us, how do you honor a mentor? How do you honor the access that you have to somebody that has what it is that you want and they're willing to teach you what they know?
Well, a lot of it came from experience as well, bro. The reason why I've been able to be so good with my mentor and not disrespect the access and, really honor it, like you said, because I realized, from watching other people, how they was taking their mentors for granted. And I was like, bro, like I would see these people take their mentors for granted. And I'm like, my mentor always told me, he said, yo, success is really common sense. You find somebody that has what you want, you do what they do, and you get what they have. But I would see people, they would accomplish the first step. They would find somebody that has what they want, but then they wouldn't do what they do because they were more there for the friendship. They were more there for, wanting to get to know them and be buddy with them, go out to drink and have fun with them. But get that at the end of the day, they're still a mentor. And there's a fine that people need to understand. Like me and my mentor, Matt, we're best friends, but there's a fine line at all times that I always remember in the back of my mind. He's still my mentor. No matter how close we are, no matter how many times we've hung out, there's still that line at the end of the day that he is my mentor, because at the end of the day, I don't even have the results that he has at this point. I'm still a student to this day. I don't have no ego. I know for a fact. And even then, come on, I've read the 48 laws of power. I know to never even outshine my master. Okay, these are things that you got to
talk. I need you to hit on that because that's something that happens. And I don't mean to cut you off, but that does happen, right? We receive the mentorship, we receive the coaching, we get to a point where it's like, okay, well, I'm starting to feel myself. Okay, I had a little bit of results, and we start to compete with people that we should be taking notes from. So I just had to pause you, talk about that. I didn't want to forget it. Continue what what you're talking about.
Absolutely, bro. And I learned that from the 48 laws of power. Never outshine the master. Always honor, like you were saying, honor the master, honor, your mentor. Be grateful that you have access to this, and never grow an ego because you're starting to figure things out, right? Never grow that ego because you're starting to get the results now. Always stay a student. Always stay a student. Even when you become the mentor, still stay a student, because look, I'm a mentor to many, but I'm a student to Matt. I'm a student to all my mentors. Like, I'm still paying to go to events. I'm still learning. I'm still watching pre-recorded videos that they did in the past, because I never, ever, ever forget that, and I feel like sometimes what tends to happen is that, you get access to the information, you get access to the mentorship, and you allow that law of familiarity to sink in. And that's where I've seen people's biggest downfalls have came from the law of familiarity, when they had everything that they wanted, but because they didn't know that fine line of mentorship and friendship, it messed it all up for them. And not only did they mess up the friendship, they also lost the mentorship, which means they lost access. And as you know, if you don't have access to information, you can't get the results that you want. So you go from having it all to losing it all, just because you didn't know that fine line. So my best advice for everybody who's on this call: never outshine the master, never outshine your mentor. Make sure that you always know the fine line between the two. And even if one day you get to outshine them, and even if one day you get to have more results than your mentor, you always pay homage and you always give the respect. You never become too big, because the same way that you were once the little fish, you can always go back to being that little fish. You know, and that's something that always stuck with me. Matt always told me, like, bro, one day you're probably gonna be better than me. You want one day be better. And you know what I always told him? I said, bro, you know what? If that ever does happen and God gives me that opportunity, bro, I'm never ever gonna stop giving thanks to the person that poured into me nonstop. Because if it wasn't for you, and if it wasn't for the fact that God put you in my life, I wouldn't have been able to do those things. So trust me, I will always honor you. I will always respect you. And I will always tell everybody that if it wasn't for you, none of this will be possible. And that's something that a lot of people need to learn how to do, bro, is pay respect always.
Bro, that's so. You know what, I think this call might have been for me. I know we got people on here but by the way, bro, we got people we got people on, again, Instagram, Facebook. You got people saying amen. You got people dropping fire emojis. You got people excited, bro. I want to ask you a question. And I love everything that you're saying. You really told these people the value of mentorship. You told them how to keep respecting and honoring always. You told them the importance of it. I think that's by far probably one of the biggest things that people can pay attention to. But knowing that there's people on this call from all different backgrounds, people from different professions, people from different businesses, let me ask you, what are some of the biggest keys to abundance that they're going to need on their way up? Obviously, they need to find a mentor. I think we've made that clear. They need to respect and honor the access that they have to that mentor. You talked about morning routine. You talked about work ethic. Is there any other keys you feel that they're going to need to unlock abundance in their life?
Bro, honestly, building a closer relationship with God has been was one of those keys that I hadn't used yet. It was like, I had the discipline, I had the access to the mentorship, and building that relationship with your creator. And it's not to go against anything that anyone believes in here, but there is a higher power, whatever it is for you. But building relationship where you have that connection, where you feel it on a day-to-day basis, where it feels like you have somebody with you at all times, protecting you, guiding you, showing you the way, taking that step by step with you, that you're having conversations and you're getting answers, from that ether. And, once I did that, bro, the amount of not only abundance that I got, Malachi, but the amount of peace that I received in my life was second to none, bro. That the peace came first, the abundance came second, bro. And there's nothing better, bro, than peace of mind. At peace of mind that you know that you're exactly where you want to be. You're not worried about anything. Negative thoughts don't enter your inner matrix. You're just in a completely zen, like just that flow state. And once you reach that flow state and you're vibrating in that peaceful state, you hold that long enough, bro, then that's when all the abundance starts to show up, and everything that you ever wanted just starts to come to you. It's like it's where the law of least effort really comes into, where you're doing the minimal work, but you're receiving everything you ever asked for. Is because you're in that state. And because I was able to get my mind, it's tough to keep it.
Yeah.
I've gotten it multiple times. That's the challenge, is keeping it over long periods of time, because, you know, with everything happening in the world and challenges and, you know, the circumstances that life happens, you know, it disrupts your peace. But when you're in peace, you know, you notice how abundant and how beautiful and how amazing, you know, life really is, bro. And that's how I've been able to get, you know, more abundance is through my relationship with my creator, bro. It's changed everything, bro. It's changed everything in my life. And, you know, I'm forever thankful, bro. For real, for real.
Man, that's so good. I tell people, you know, yes, look for the good thing, but make sure it's also a God thing. And I love what Philippians 4:7 says. It says, "In the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." And bro, I absolutely agree with what it is. Come on, I love what it is that you said, man. Again, I get fired up, man, because we brought the right guest. Guys, if you're excited, type of AOTK in the chat box on Instagram, Facebook, and also Zoom. Come on, blow it up, guys. Man, I love what it is that you're saying. Let me continue here in the 15 minutes that we do have left. You know, talk to us, bro. You've got all type of people on this call. You've worked with thousands of people. Make these people aware of some of the biggest things that hold the average person back.
Lack of belief, bro. The lack of belief. And it's funny you asked me this, because somebody asked me this the other day. And somebody was asking me, you know, they were telling me, yo, tell me all the pros about, you know, your business and working with people. And I was, you know, pro after pro, yo, this, that, bah, 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 bah. And then they asked me, they were like, so what are the cons? What are some things that are difficult? And I said, you know, one of the difficult parts is honestly getting people to believe in themselves, that they can accomplish anything that they put their mind to. It's difficult sometimes, bro, because, you know, a lot of people tend to allow the things in their life to become their reality, when in reality, you create your own reality. It's understanding that things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Yeah. And everything that happens in your life is there to help you become a better person. But the thing is, most people allow the problems, the situations, and the circumstances in their life to bring them down, which means if they are down, their confidence level is down, and that means that their belief level is down. And you can't accomplish big dreams with a low belief level. It's impossible, right? So it's remembering that. It's remembering keeping that faith as well at all times. It's believing in the unseen. People don't understand how long and how many times I had to, you know, focus on those goals specifically through the tough times, because the tough times is what made me who I am today. I always say this: the hardest thing about getting to the top is getting through the crowd at the bottom. The crowd at the bottom, everyone lacks belief. Nobody believes that they can climb that ladder. Okay. And even when you start to climb that ladder, you got the people at the bottom telling you, like, yo, don't waste your time. Everybody has fall from there. Don't waste it. Come back down. Come be with us. Because remember, at the end of the day, misery loves company.
Say that.
So when you start to take that trip and when you start to walk up that ladder, you know, you got to remember that. And that was something that I always remember. I was like, okay, the hardest thing about getting to the top is getting through that crowd at the bottom. I've gotten through the crowd, but once you've gotten through the crowd, now that crowd is going to do everything in their power to try to get you to come back down, because they don't want to see you go up the ladder.
Nope.
They don't want to, because then that means that you're doing better than them. And guess what? Remember, people want to see you do good, but never better than them. So the thing is that some of us, we allow other people's lack of belief to become our reality. Just because they can't do something, we believe we can't do something. Just because they don't feel like they could start that business, we think that we can start that business. And we start to live our lives on other people's belief systems, when in reality, we got to live our lives based off of our own belief systems. And when I learned that, bro, that I had to believe in myself, and I had to, really, really work on myself each and every single day, that changed everything for me. There was a quote that I heard. It said, the easiest thing that I ever did was make six figures. The hardest thing I did was believe I could make it.
That I could. Come on, man. Say that.
That I could. So that belief is everything right there, bro. Belief is everything. And I would say that that's what holds people back, is the lack of belief and the lack of faith, bro.
Bro, I could not agree with you more. And, when we talk about God principles, success principles, we believe that they're one and the same. I want to say that Matthew 9:29 says, then he touched their eyes, saying, according to your faith, let it be done unto you. And if we unpack that and we really, say just plainly what that means, what it's saying is believe bigger, receive bigger, right? According to their faith. And I could not agree with you more. In my years of experience as well, belief is probably one of the biggest things. And so, I tell people the Bible is full of success secrets. We've got incredible books, incredible personal development. A lot of it comes from the word, right? I tell people Bible just stands for basic instructions before leaving earth. Now, in the 10 minutes or so that we've got left, let me ask you this. You've become a big time influencer to the degree of, again, thousands and thousands of people internationally. And I want to ask you this, right? You have a knack and a skill and a real gift for being able to impact and move people. You've I would say become extremely good at the art of influence, right? Big influencer, hundreds of people on your podcast, hundreds of people on your Zoom calls. You've got thousands of followers, thousands of followers on social media in different platforms. I've seen you mobilize hundreds of people across state lines on planes to get to big events. How have you done that? What is it that has allowed you to be able to cast a vision and compel that many people to move without touching them? How have you done that? What's the key to that?
Well, I'll say this, bro. I always remember this quote that I heard this speaker say. He said, people will forget what you say, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And it's all about the intention that you set before you speak every time. And every time I speak, my intention is I want to leave people with an impression that they'll never forget, that feeling that I created for them, right? It's leaving people with that impression of increase, right? And when you do that for people, right, people tend to, really gravitate towards you, because it's not because of, the success that I have, is because of the value and the way you made them feel. So I always do my best to be extremely relatable and always provide as much value as I can. And I think it's because of the constant and the ability for me to always pour into myself, because every time I pour into people, right, my cup is full. The thing with some leaders and the thing with some influencers out there is that they're faking the influence, right? And they're pouring into their people from empty cups. Yes. And after a while, people start to notice, like, bro, I'm not really feeling anything from this mentorship. I'm not really feeling anything from what this guy is telling me. Like, it's cool, it sounds good, but it's because the person is actually not taking the time to pour into themselves. Like, for example, this week, I did my morning routine every day this week. Right, I read a book every day this week. I listened to audio. So my cup is full right now going into this call. So I wanted to make sure that when I jumped on this call, that I did it with the intention to create an experience for you guys that you guys will never forget. Right, I want you guys to jump on this call today and be like, yo, I want this call to be one that switches it for you. Like, maybe things haven't been going the way that you want them to go this year, and you're like, this was the call I needed to hear. Or maybe things are going the way that you want them to, but you just needed a little extra push, And that was what this call was for, right? Is to create that experience. And I always set that intention, bro. Create an experience for people that they will never forget. Doesn't matter if it's on a Zoom call. Doesn't matter if it's over a phone call, a FaceTime, an event, in person. I always do my best, Malachi, to create that experience for people so that I can leave them with that impression of increase, bro. And as long as you can do that with people, as long as you can do that for people that after you talk to them, after they jump on one of your calls, they leave more inspired. They leave believing in themselves more. They believe in themselves more. They have more confidence in themselves. You'll have people follow you all over the world, bro, at all times.
How many guys are pleased with the experience that, you know, you've been provided today? Somebody type in ALTK in the chat. In all platforms, blow it up, blow it up, blow it up. Man, this has been amazing. I got a couple of more questions before I let you go. What drives you to succeed? What's your why? And the reason why I asked you that question, bro, I truly believe that, you know, your why should almost make you cry, right? If not make you cry. Because see, what a lot of people don't really consider, bro, I don't think that they know why they should succeed, you know, because we grew up believing that we shouldn't necessarily, well, I'll tell you this, right? When we're younger, we dream really, really big. But as we get older, we kind of shrink those dreams. I tell people we shrink our dreams to match our income or our faith, when we should just increase our faith, our income to match our dreams. So what drives you, man? You know, why be successful? Why go for increase? Why go for abundance? Why not sit on the couch and just coast through life and feel comfortable with that, right? It's a lot less scary. There's probably, you know, not as much pressure. You don't have to worry about failing if you don't try. Why are you working so hard to grow and to achieve, bro?
Because, bro, we are born looking like our parents, but we die looking like our choices. And, you know, I'm here on this earth to fulfill God's purpose. It's bigger than me. You know, this life that we live here on earth, the physical, you know, this is only a short time compared to the life that we're going to live in the eternal with God. And it's so important for people to understand that right there. Like, this is temporary. This is, you know, something small. And, you know, we were giving an assignment, and our assignment is to do our best to become the best version of ourselves so that we can help others do the same. Remember, our purpose on earth is to serve. It's to help others reach their full potential, help others realize the gifts that they have, and help the individuals who are lost on earth become found. And, you know, through that, you know, I've been able to realize that at the time, early on, you know, my whys and my desires were in the wrong place. And once I started to switch over my desires and my goals over to serving God and making sure I fulfill that purpose, everything changed, because now everything is smooth, you know, rolling a lot more smoother. Because if I'm fulfilling God's purpose, my why before that was helping my parents, you know, retiring my parents, people that have, you know, individuals that have worked their whole lives, 30 years, to give me the life that I have today. And every day till this day, I work for them. But at the end of the day, I can't forget that every day I got to serve. And the more people I serve, the more people I help, the faster my dreams become a reality. If my dreams have not become a reality, it's because I haven't served enough people. I haven't helped enough people. I haven't allowed enough people to get rid of their problems. If I want my problems to disappear, I got to help other people's problems disappear. If I want to accomplish my goals, I got to help other people accomplish their goals. So I've taken the complete focus off of myself, and I've become very selfless to making sure that I serve the purpose of God on this earth. And if you guys want to really, really get tapped in with the information that I'm talking to you guys about, because I know some of this stuff, you might hear it and be like, yo, you know, it sounds good. Hey, man, you're typing it in the chat box and AOTK, the whole nine. But
Sorry about that.
understand, right, it's not. So the book I recommend for that is called The Purpose Driven Life. I guarantee you it will change your life 1,000%. Go buy it right now. As a matter of fact, if one of the things that you feel like you've been missing is that, read that book. Trust me, it'll change everything for you, and you'll realize what your real purpose on earth is. You think you know what your purpose is until you read that book.
Man, that's deep. That's deep. And you talk about, man, I again, this call has been so amazing, bro. You've given so much value. I could not agree with you more when it comes to serving. I tell people, I believe service to others is the rent we pay for the space we take up on earth. You know, I believe it's a part of our purpose is to go out there and impact the lives of other people. And, you know, last couple of questions. Bro, so two more questions, right? The second and last question is there anything else that you want to add, that you want to let the people know, and how can they connect with you?
Well, anything else that I feel like you guys should know? I would say brace yourselves. Prepare yourselves for a potential recession. You know, with everything that's happening in this world right now, inflation, everything going up, prices, gas prices, groceries, airline tickets, everything is going up. But the thing is that income is actually going down.
Wow.
And you know, they're setting people up as literally a recipe for disaster. So what I would say is really take this time to tap in. Don't get comfortable where you are. Look for different streams of income. You know, look for different ideas. Make sure that you're working on yourself. Make sure that you're working on that faith. You're making sure that everything happens in, you know, the way it's supposed to happen, because it's going to get really hard for some people over the next few months if they are not tapped in. So that's something I wanted to mention. And if you guys want to follow me, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Long Live Neno. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, I'm huge into NFTs on Twitter. My Twitter is Live Love Nano. And then you guys can follow me also as well on all my podcast platforms. You can look up Mornings with Nano. You can find it on Apple, Amazon, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, YouTube. You can look it up, Mornings with Nano, and it's going to be all there right there if you guys want to look for me and connect with me.
Last question, bro. Obviously, the goal here is to show people that if you practice God's principles, you can participate in his promises. And I just want to ask you, bro, because I know God plays a big part in your life. I know he's played a big part in your journey. What does that phrase mean to you? If you practice God's principles, you can participate in his promises.
That I really like that quote, bro. I actually wrote it down when you said it, because I'm like, bro, that's so true. Because you know, just recently, bro, you know, I always had a relationship with God, but I never really had like the deep. I hadn't gone deep enough. And, you know, as you go through the levels, bro, you know, they say that, you know, new levels brings new devils. And you know, the challenges started to get bigger. And what I realized was that my connection with God wasn't close enough in order for me to be some of the challenges and the devils that were showing up on the journey. So as I started to build that relationship, right, I started to understand the principles that he wants us to live by. And when I started to apply those, as a matter of fact, when I first became aware of the principles, I realized where I was slipping up. I realized why I was the challenges and those devils, and the reason why they were getting the best of me. It was because I wasn't living by the principles that God wanted me to live. So because I wasn't living by the principles, I can't receive the promise. So when I became aware of the principles, I'm like, okay, now I got to practice these every day. And now I got to be aware of them daily, that I'm practicing them each and every single day over a period of time. It's not practice it today and then you get the promise tomorrow. No, it's about practicing them today, tomorrow, next week, for a month, 3 months, until you receive your promise. And it's keeping, and remember, this is the most important thing that I've learned about this, is about making sure that you keep the principles through the character building times, because that's when the real test happens. Because if you could do the principles when it's all good, it's all good.
Anybody can do that. Come on.
But can you keep the principles? Can you follow the exact principles when it all goes wrong? When you're being challenged, when you're being tested, when things are going against you, can you continue the principles through then? And when I did that, bro, I realized that right before I got anything that I wanted or anything that I asked for, God would put me through a quick storm to see if I would continue the principles that he wants me to do. And then when I did, at the end of that storm, guess what was there? The promise, my brother. Every time it was there, bro. Like rain or shine. It's like I already know. It's like, okay, I've been asking for this. Boom, everything's been going good. Then a challenge shows up and I'm like, okay, here it is. Here's the test. He's testing me right now. I can't stop praying. I can't stop practicing the gratitude. I got to make sure I keep paying homage. I got to make sure I keep the glory, worshiping this. I know. And then I just know. And then it's just boom, apply, gone, and done.
Wow. Man, I could not agree with you more. There can be no there can be no testimony without first test. Everything you said, man, One of my favorite scriptures, Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 through 3. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision, make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Man, this has been an incredible call, guys. Can we send some love Neno's way? Somebody type a big thank you in the chat box. Somebody type a lot of hearts in the chat box. Can we get it blowing up on all platforms? Somebody type thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Bro, this has been incredible. I think we shall end on that note. Guys, if you're seeing this on YouTube, of course, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, drop a comment.